Hey, this is Professor Homa. Welcome to Getting Started Part 2. That's opposed to the overview that we did. This is kind of working on it. We kind of worked with this header part, and this is header address top that I'm working on right now. It has an ID called address top. We put a background color, put a font, we put some of this stuff in. We just started working our way down the page. There's a header with an ID of banner. It already has a height of 240, so we shouldn't have to do anything else with that right now. So we should be done with that. We're moving on to top navigation, which is nav top has a background color, and I'm going to put in a 000 and then edit it. Now I gave it a light blue color, and I'll just give it any light blue color and then just kind of check it out. I'll just find like a nice kind of sky blue color to start. To put behind there, that'll be background behind it, and I'll just take a look at it, and that's what it looks like. And I'm trying to match kind of this color and that color. I could go a little bit lighter, but actually that's probably fine. That's kind of like the darker part of her shirt, and actually if I'm putting white type in here, that looks pretty good. So that was a pretty good guess of that color. Now what we're going to have to do with this this list over here is get rid of the bullets and put it all in one line. We already know how to do that. We've done that before. And we're going to also, since they're links, we're going to take out these underlines so we don't have links inside, because they're kind of going to act like buttons. We also might make it bold. So we're going to go back to our CSS and do that all. There's a number of elements. Now we put the background color behind there. We're also going to put padding on there now. Now I'm going to skip the padding now until I do some of these other things, because it's going to be hard to see what happens, because I am going to put padding on the top and bottom. I did it like 0.5% or something. You know, we could try that. It might even go a little bit bigger, because you can see up on this one I put 0.5% on the top and bottom, so maybe I'll do 0.7% or 0.75%, and then I'll do on the left and right. I mentioned also 2%. I mentioned using 2%. I'll show you why later, but let me put 2% in for now. Now we may have to change that because of the hover. It may not look quite right, but I'll put that in for now. And we're not going to see much happen, so I'm not even going to look at it. Now this is the important part. We want it. It says property that puts list items on one line. You should know what that is. That's inline. Otherwise it would be block. It's the opposite of block. So you want to do that. You also want to take the unordered list and list style and removes bullets. You just put none. So what I should see right now after doing that, I'll save it, is I should see everything kind of on one line, but it's all kind of jammed together. And you can see the padding there. We're going to put, you can see what happens right now. If you look at this, there's no padding on these links, but there's padding on the nav top section itself, and we're going to make sure the padding on this one is going to be the same, that 0.7% or whatever it happens to be. It should be the same, so that when we roll over, the rollover will reach to the top. That's why we're going to do that. But we're also going to need some padding. And if we weren't going to do these as hover, we could just put padding on the right, but because we're going to do them as kind of a button, I'm going to put padding on either side to spread these out so they actually act like buttons. But they're not going to be the same size. They're all going to be kind of based on whatever size we're using right now. So I'm going to just try something out here. Again, I'm going to try to use M's or percents wherever I can. Now I'm going to make, first of all, I'm going to make the colors of the links white, and that's pretty easy because that's FFF. So I'll put that in. Text decoration, that's also going to be none because I want to take away the underlines. Font family, I'm not going to change it. So actually, if it's default, you don't even need that. So I'll take that out. Font size, maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger. I'll do 1.1 M, just make it slightly bigger. That's like 110% of default. So if it's like, 16 pixels, it might make it closer to like 18 pixels. Now padding, this is going to be around each element, and we hope. So what we want to do is put padding on the top and bottom, which I'm going to do the 0.7% because that's what we did up here. I want to make sure that's the same. And then on the left and right, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to try maybe like 1%. I think 2% will be too big. That's our margin on our page. So maybe we'll try like 1% and see how that looks. Because remember, that's on either side of each link. So we'll see how that looks. And even font weight, I'll put bold and see how that looks. And I'll save it. And even before I look at it, let me put a hover color. And I want to try to match that blue. So I'll do FFF. And I'll right click on it. I'll do a quick edit. And I'll just choose like a dark blue. And then I'll see if I can match it a little bit better just by looking at the page. So I'll save this and I'll see what I have. And there's my hover color. That's not too bad. It looks like it needs to be a little warmer, a little on the warmer side based on that. But actually, it's pretty, well, it's pretty close. I don't know if I'd really change it. I don't know if anybody's going to be complaining about that. I could see it's a little bit warmer, but that looks pretty good. And you can see why actually I moved this over just a little bit. I might move this over, even though the hover lines up perfectly. I think actually it's probably fine. The way this is set up right now probably looks fine. The home kind of lines up right in there. It looks a little off center. That's the only reason I think I moved it over a little bit, but that looks pretty good. And I did make it a little wider. And because these are both 0.7, that hover works out nice. I might just lighten up that background color on the hover just a little bit. I'll do a quick edit and maybe just move it up just slightly. And now, I don't know if it really, I guess it's a little bit better. Look a little more on the purplish side. It doesn't look completely, you could always look up this color, I drop it in some place where I'll tell you what the color is. But that's the first part. That's our we now have 2 header sections done, and we have our nav section done. That wasn't too bad to do that. Now, again, we're going to link these up later. Now, the harder part we have here is we're going to have these 2 sections that are actually going to float. So we're going to do that next. So I'm going to take a break here, and then we'll work on our kind of main section here where we have the float, and we have the section container, the article, and the side nav.